Hello, and welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency, devoted to promoting musicians and authors worldwide. Call us today at 941-877-1552 to start your free publicity evaluation. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. Please welcome the host of Interviewing the Legends, music journalist, author, and entrepreneur, Ray Shasho.
Hello once again, everyone. I'm your host, Ray Shasho, and welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends on BBS Radio, brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call us today, 941-877-1552, or email us at publicityworksagency.com. Remember, we shine only when we make you shine. Also, by the Rockstar Chronicles, Series 1, which is my new book, available at bookbaby.com and amazon.com, featuring over 45 intimate conversations with the greatest music legends the world will ever know. Lee Oskar is an internationally acclaimed harmonica virtuoso, composer, producer, and lifelong musical explorer. He is renowned for his iconic role as a founding member and lead harmonica player of the pioneering funk jazz band that composed and recorded such hits as LowRider, Spill the Wine, Cisco Kid, The World is a Ghetto, Slippin into Darkness, Why Can't We Be Friends, and many more chart-topping songs from 1969 through 1993. Since then, Oskar and his original bandmates from the era perform as the LowRider Band. Oskar also performs around the world with outstanding musicians from the Pacific Northwest, known as Lee Oskar and Friends, featuring his own new arrangements, innovative compositions, and well-loved hit songs. Lee Oskar Harmonicas Founder, President Lee Oskar is a world-renowned harmonica virtuoso, composer, producer, visual arts, musical explorer, and harmonica manufacturer. Lee's stellar career as a globally touring musician uniquely equipped him to become a revolutionary harmonica maker. In the 70s, Lee grew increasingly frustrated with the poor quality of harmonicas that were on the market at the time. So he went on to a quest to find a superior quality manufacturer that could meet his needs and bring his design ideas to life. In the early 80s, he found the perfect partner in Tombo Manufacturing of Japan, a multi-general harmonica manufacturer known for excellence since 1917. Together, Lee Oskar and Tombo collaborated closely to perfect Lee Oskar Harmonicas, pairing Lee's design ideas, creativity, and musical knowledge with Tombo's manufacturing expertise and commitment to superlative quality. LeeOskar.com is a culminating showcase of Lee Oskar products and his life's work. Please welcome legendary harmonica virtuoso with War and the LowRider Band and founder president of Lee Oskar Harmonicas, Lee Oskar, to Interviewing the Legends. Hello, Lee.
Hey, Ray. Man, that took a long time to introduce me, man. Is the show over now?
Yeah, it's over. We're done.
Oh, man. Thank you for all that flattering stuff. There's a couple of things that I always kind of, to be honest with you, and I don't mean to lean on it to think I am. It's quite the opposite. I don't know what this virtuoso stuff means, and I would rather be, it's my voice. I'm passionately, in the zone with music, and it had to be harmonica, had to be my tool,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, but nobody plays harmonica like you anymore, man. You're very, very unique.
Well, thank you. But I think anybody who's connected with something, I mean, truly connected, not from thinking, but when you reflex, everything is it's connected that much. It's like it's you. It's no different. If you hear my voice and you know my voice, it's unique too. I mean, you know it's me. You
right.
Can't say over the phone. No, that's not me. It's somebody else. It's John here you talk to. So I think everybody has a uniqueness once they are really connected. There's a lot of people, whether it's music, anything that play, and but I don't feel that everybody who plays music is connected.
Right. I agree with you. You're the perfect story of living the American dream. You left home, your home country. You became a huge success in USA, and especially with not much money in your pocket. You're a true success story.
Well, thank you. Again, it's very flattering, but I'm involved in what in my vision starts with, and there's a thing called VIP, Vision, Innovative Persistence.
Okay.
And nobody else would hire me, so I had to hire myself.
Right.
I would be useless to do anything but what comes to me and what I love doing. So in a sense, I'm a true artist. I could be starving. I was just very fortunate that at the same time I've managed to take opportunities to get through the gate with what I love doing, and that's what's got me always through. Everything I do, what I call it? I have a occupation.
Mm-hmm.
And Phil Upchurch, who's a amazing guitar player,
right,
he told me that a long time ago. It's either you have a job or you have an occupation.
Right.
And unfortunately, I have an occupation. I'm occupied with what I love doing. Most people have to tolerate life.
Right. Doing
a job. It's something the skills they have or whatever it is they got hired for. It's a job, and there's expectations. And those expectations means that you have to vacate. You have to take a vacation so you can rejuvenate. It would kill me if I had to vacate from what I love doing. Yeah. So I don't take vacations. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly. That's what motivated you, is the love of what you and passion of what you're doing. That's everything. It really is.
That really is. If you're going to live healthy and long,
right.
you live for what you love doing. I think it's much healthier than distress.
I agree. Let's talk a little bit about Lee Oskar Harmonicas. I was a business owner for years. I owned several businesses in electronics, and I actually had a dry cleaning plant for a while and a bunch of things. So I admire entrepreneurs. You've been running this company since 1983, which is, that's amazing. How's the company doing right now?
Relatively speaking, we're doing good. Everything right now in these crises, business is down for most things.
Right.
It was really bad for a moment because when the crisis hit at a certain point, not too long ago, a few weeks, a month or so ago, a lot of things are closed up, and a lot of things can't pay the bills. A lot of the retailers either shut down or some of the e-com slowed down on ordering, only maybe essentials. So, a lot of things I can talk about it, but in a nutshell, considering what's going on, we're not going to die.
Right.
Things are slowed down, maybe 30% right now. And, they can get a product online. You don't have to go to the brick and mortar store necessarily.
Exactly.
The problem also is a lot of people who wants to buy a product, they're struggling with having, maybe it's a luxury right now just to have some money to buy an instrument.
Right.
But harmonica is a wonderful instrument, and we're trying to promote and market to people that there's so many amazing things you can do with a harmonica, even between people in the family, by the same key, same tuning, and it's amazing. It's an instrument that you don't have to play it; it plays you.
Right.
You just breathe on it, and it sounds like you're making music. Just make sure you have the same key and the same tuning that we make. So
that's one instrument. I play some guitar, but I always wanted to play the harmonica, and for some reason I have trouble. So I may sign up on your site and get some lessons done.
Oh, and there's an amazing teacher, just to throw it out there, Steve Lockwood out of the UK. He's truly a harmonica teacher, brilliant. And we endorse him, Steve Lockwood. He does it on YouTube or social media. And I've seen him, like, just one or two lessons, I've seen him get people, unbelievable what he's got. I'm not a teacher, and I admire when somebody can really teach. He's also a really fine player.
Right. But
he has the skills of teaching like you rarely see.
Yeah, I'm going to be a client, I can tell you that, because I've always wanted to play the harmonica, and for some reason, you can't do it by yourself. You need help. It's just like playing slide guitar. You need a little instruction there,
Yeah.
Let's see, how does this work now? Tombo, are they the ones that actually make the harmonica?
Right. So Tombo is a factory in Japan.
Okay.
They're going on 5 generations.
Right.
That's all they've been doing, making harmonicas. And they've survived many things, when other manufacturers were making harmonicas, and we're not selling one, let's make furniture, from the great-grandfather. It's like they have this loyal, dedicated thing in finding the best reeds, best make, and then they really struggle and survive the many obstacles and keep making, and it makes amazing quality. And I was on a quest, when I got with Eric Burden, and Eric Burden War, now I got some money, a little bit of money, and I found out every harmonica in the store that they would have. And literally I would find maybe 1 out of every 10 that was good. And that got me more frustrated. I've been tinkering with harmonica since I started 6 years old playing, so I've always been interested in how it's made and blah, blah, and all that.
Right.
And little by little, my knowledge got to recognize why it's not good quality, what it needs to be, and so on and so on. And I was very fortunate when I was in Japan that I heard a guy down the hallway playing harmonica in a room, and I went and knocked on the door, and it was this elder gentleman. His name was Kan Manaka, and he was not a professional player. He played the most common kind of harmonicas in Asia, which is beautiful sounding. It's called the tremolo. Mm-hmm. That's 2 reeds vibrating slightly different beats, so it has that almost like a accordion sound. It's like the old, when you listen to people of the old days, they were in Europe everywhere, they played tremolos.
Right.
That's very popular in Asia. And when he opened the door, I saw this harmonica, and immediately I saw it said Tombo on there, and so people that were around me, I make them go and find who Tombo is, and so fortunately they were fans of my music. And matter of fact, my first solo album, just called Lee Oskar, was #1 in Japan, because they were using it. The music from that album they were using for a Shiseido women cosmetic commercial.
Huh.
So so fortunately, after I've been trying to connect with different factories and that, these people, Yasuo Hamano, and his father was Yasuo Hamano's father was still the president of Tombo.
Right.
And now Yasuo Hamano is retired, and there's two out of his 3 sons run it. And that's who, when I first met, they heard that I wanted to talk to them, so I would fly to Japan back and forth to do commercials for TV. I would compose the music. And it was just wonderful that they connected. And actually the cover of my album, the inside cover of that first album that they were fans of, had a dragonfly on it, and that's what Tombo means, dragonfly.
Oh,
so
really?
All these things just kind of came together. And then I would negotiate with them, fly back and forth to Japan, and discuss my ideas and their expertise. And then in 1983, we launched Lee Oskar's, my first production. And then I came into a reality check, because the normal thing you think is, you got to advertise, and I didn't have any money for that. So I was like freaking out what to do, and I learned a great lesson. Because the lesson is, if I had all the money in the world and spent it on advertising, it's the wrong way to do things. Advertising is a waste of money.
Really?
Yeah.
So how did you get the word out?
Well, the idea was when I didn't have money in that, I learned to do what actually is important to do, even if you have all the money in the world. is promote. And promotion can be product profile. It can be other people who play harmonica.
Right.
It's anything to promote. And the last thing you want to do is advertise, because advertisement is not to create demand. Advertising is really to acknowledge, confirm, I should say, what people are already excited about. Like when you go through a magazine, your thumb is going page by page. The minute you see something you already know about, a logo or something, a product you're already excited about, that's where you stop. That's where it computes.
Right.
And and then it acknowledges what you already, confirms what you already might be excited about. So that's, advertising is not the way to create demand. If you spend a lot of money in advertising and nobody knows about it, they don't even pay attention what it is. They say, man, when is that stuff keeps coming up?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So it's got to be organic and very, very real. And marketing is a very important thing. It's more important than the sales.
Right.
I mean, the sales is the end result. But if you're going to market properly, if people buy stories, basically, they don't buy product. And then when they buy the story, and now they use the product, the product better live up to the story.
I agree.
So
yeah. Now you guys have like four different types of tunings? You got a standard tuning, 3 ultra tunings.
Yes, typically the harmonicas that you identify as those 10-hole. Those are major diatonics.
Okay.
So we make the major diatonics in 17 keys now. That's tuning that most people are familiar with, whether you're playing campfire folk music, European Oompa music, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, or Chicago blues, whatever.
Right.
That's a major diatonic. So we make major diatonics also in other lower keys and that, so it adds up to be 17 or 18 keys, I think. But we make 3 other tunings. We make a natural minor in all 12 keys, and we make harmonic minor in all 12 keys, and then we make 5 keys in what I call a melody maker, which is great for reggae, afro, clave. It goes from a major 7th chord to a minor 2nd chord. It's beautiful sounding, and now we're adding 4 more, so we'll have 9 keys in the melody maker.
That's incredible. I've never heard that before.
What's that?
I've never heard that before in a harmonica.
We're the first to do these older tunings, and we're associated with an amazing organization called Playing for Change.
Okay.
And we partnered up with them because they embrace music from all over the world.
Right.
And our tunings, because we make these different tunings, and most people don't play harmonica, the harmonica plays them. These different tunings. Now you are able to play, you name it, all kinds of different genres of music.
That's amazing.
So it's a perfect fit for us to partner up with Playing for Change.
That must have took you a long time, though, to get those different sounds, huh?
Well, it actually, when I got with Tombo, I had a list of all kinds of things, and I had to become very humble because, there's a big difference between a hobby and manufacturing.
Right.
Hobby is, no matter how good you are, it's not, you can work on impulse and all that. But when you're manufacturing, you have tooling everything. You have to decide out of thousands, millions possibilities. You got to decide on one. And when it came to all these different tunings that I had to set up machines. They had to set up things. So we did the major diatonics, of course. Then the natural minors in 12 keys and harmonic minors were already in 12 keys. I wanted a melody maker, and I had to decide what's the most common keys, because it's and then all the specs and everything on any of these harmonicas, from cover play to you name it. Once you decide on something in manufacturing, you gotta depend on that being, and you don't know till a year later. Let's say. Just how good it is. You can't change the middle of the stream like a hobby. Let me change this now and that. So manufacturing, I had to really narrow things down and with my choices of what to do. And so I wasn't able to come out with many, many different types of tunings as I wanted originally. And you learn from Tombo's expertise and what's wise and not,
That's amazing. It really is. I really admire that. Now, which tuning method is for, say, funk, or like the war genre. I mean, I don't.
Okay, well, with the genres that you hear from War or LowRider Band, it's really tough to put a mark on it because it could be anything from major to minor to dominant chords and all that. I mean, that's the music. But if you were to talk about specific like funk generally, and hip hop, let's say another one.
Okay.
It's like hip hop is usually just minor. In minor mode. Reggae is major or minor.
Okay.
Not dominant. A dominant chord like you use in Chicago blues and that, when it's the minor seventh in there, I can see that in the reggae at the end of a tune, like waving goodbye as you're going away into the sunset,
Right.
Major seventh, is very important. Like when it's a clave or reggae, it's sunshine. It's not the dirt. Dominant chord is the minor seventh versus the seventh. If you're playing minor reggae, it could be natural minor, harmonic minor. It's really the chords, the minor modes. And I teach, I share my knowledge and what I've experienced, like when I do workshops. And I start with the three elements in music, that we think of three elements. It's rhythm, harmony, and melody.
Right.
And if somebody plays like a train thing, a lot of people want to play a train thing on harmonica. Well, the tuning would have to be a major diatonic, the dominant chord, because it's got to stay in the ground. If you're playing a rhythm is affected by harmonies in that. So, for example, if you're playing a train thing, you're playing 2/4, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, 1/2, but it's got to stay in the dirt. You don't want to get derailed. So you got to have the minor seventh in there that you get on the draw chord and the major diatonic harmonica, the typical harmonica. And if I played it with a melody maker, it would sound like it's derailed every time I hit the seventh because it's going up to the sun rather than staying on the ground.
Right.
If I want to make a train go backwards, like I ask people, so how do you make a train go backwards? It's amazing how a lot of people don't realize you just flatten the thirds. So if I'm playing a major dominant chord, like a G, B, D, F. The F is minor seven. Mm-hmm. It's a minor seven to G. I can do the rhythmical thing, right? Stay on the ground. If I want the train to go backwards, and it's G, B, D, then I just flatten the B to a B flat, and then it goes backwards. So rhythms and all that is not just the accents on the drums and all that. It's the accents with what choice of harmonies you use with it that'll move forward, backwards, or whichever way it goes, So it's, the elements of music is really a key thing to understand about different tunings. Not just the melody, but how it moves rhythmically too.
You know what the cool thing too about harmonica? I mean, you can take it anywhere. You don't have all this equipment with you. You really don't run out of breath like you do like a flute. Playing and playing and playing, right? It's not, it's you don't have to worry about too much like breath control like you do some other instruments. Is that true?
Well, it's basically with the sax or flute, you only get sound by blowing.
Right. Exactly.
With harmonica, you got reeds that are sounding when you breathe in too.
Exactly.
So
yeah, that's important.
So for that reason, it's like the only instrument I think that. I mean, there's a lot of people that are musically hopeless.
That's true.
Really, and a lot of them are really not.
Yeah.
The characteristic of labeling someone musically hopeless, or even yourself, is based on if you can play an instrument or not. And honestly, harmonica is made for the musically hopeless because if you put your mouth to harmonica and you're breathing in and out, it's playing you and you can hear sounds.
True.
And it makes you feel like you're making music. And I can tell you, I know people who can play many instruments who is musically hopeless. They got tiny ears.
Yeah.
It's just that physically they can channel something through an instrument, but that doesn't mean it's music. There's a big difference between sound and when it becomes music. I mean, music is like when you really connected it, that's Zen. So physically, just because someone can channel through different instruments, they're considered musicians. A lot of them, to me, are musically hopeless. And there was a lot of people who got big ears, who hears music deeper than most of us,
right,
can't physically channel anything. They're not musically hopeless. They really hear, man.
Yeah.
They just don't have the capability of channeling through an instrument. Right. So harmonica really can serve an inspiration to anybody who hears something that just sounds it's amazing that they didn't have to figure out technical things, stress the brain, and physically how to have the techniques or whatever. It starts with you playing you.
I agree, man. In harmonica, it's a lot like the acoustic guitar when you can just pick it up and play and entertain people. The harmonica is the same way, you know?
Well, actually, harmonica is much easier.
Yeah?
Initially, because you can take a guitar and you're going to still have the dexterity, you know, when to put your, maybe just to play a C and an E and a G note to play a C chord.
Right.
You know, you're going to still have some dexterity and know that. Even before you can start having reflexes to move all over. And so I'd say harmonica is much easier from the get-go because it's playing you. A guitar can't play you.
No,
you
can't.
still have to play it.
Well, I'm going to sign up with Steve. Does he do these things? It's on Skype or what?
I think he does it other ways too, but Skype is what I know him doing, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Other ways. He's with the social media, yeah. Skype is what I know him doing.
All right, well, I'll get in touch with Steve on your website. It's a great website, too, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Is it true that Junior Wells, when he died, he was buried with a tray of Lee Oskar harmonicas?
Well, that's what I was told, too. I was there at the funeral, and I know that they put some of my harmonicas of his in with him. Yes, that's true.
That's pretty good tribute.
Well, it's I did that with Papa D. Allen, the original percussion player when we played as War.
Right.
He apparently, in the middle of while we were playing, he had so he had to take him to the hospital and he died. So when I had the funeral, I know I wasn't supposed to do it. That it would have been very upsetting to some of the people, but I just said, "You ain't leaving me yet." Papa D. Allen, and I put the harmonica.
I like that.
Got the harmonica in the dirt there when they were burying him.
Right.
With, the same harmonica I used when he collapsed and left. So it was an A natural minor.
Oh boy, how about that? That's a piece for the history books. There, it really is.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about War, and I've met Eric Burden a few times. I got some great pictures with him. Hung out with him a little bit. I did get to interview Eric. Great guy, and I admire him a lot. But you actually, before you met Eric, did you meet Hugh Masekela first? And was that the first guy you?
Yeah, I did. When I came down to LA to try to make it from the Bay Area, I finally got down to LA where my destiny to look up some different people to try to get a break. That's where I came to the United States. That's where I finally got down to LA. And I met Doc Siegel, who was the recording engineer at the Gold Star Studio. Mm-hmm. He introduced me to Stu Levine. And Stu Levine was him and Hugh Masekela had a little record label,
right?
Distributed to Uni Records, and it was called Chisa Records. And so I went to see Hugh Masekela at his house. Stu Levine told me to go there, and so I went there. And it was just an amazing experience. I mean, I was basically in the streets back then, and between the place called The Experience, the club called The Experience, owned by Marshall Bravitz,
right, and
Blues Image had just come in from Florida.
Yep.
And we had jams every night, and they'd let me in for free. It was a kind of club that was way away from West and Sunset Boulevard, where Whiskey and Coconut. It was far east up there, far east, where it was not an in place to be. But the experience was there, and it became a reputation where there's jams every night. And if whoever played the Coliseum, if it was Jet Rittal or Jimi Hendrix or whoever was playing there, they also knew there was a place to go into Hollywood and jam. And so that place became really happening. And of course, the Whiskey a Go-Go, far west of there, was Alma and Mario owned, mm-hmm. and that was a big competition. They were like furious at this new hangout that was competing with the Whiskey a Go-Go. But that's when I would go and jam and with blues image, and Eric Burden would come in, and so he and I kind of met then. What was the question? I was just thinking.
Well, you met Hugh Masekela before Eric.
Hugh Masekela,
Yeah.
So Hugh Masekela, I met because I went through Doc Siegel and that. And the thing with Stu Levine and Hugh Masekela put me up in a house.
Right.
And in a house with this band I brought down from the Bay Area. And to be quite honest about it, it's like they in Hollywood, from there went into Malibu, they put us in another house, and that band didn't want to rehearse with me. I think they were told that they're going to be a backup band for me, and I don't know, whatever the ego was, I couldn't get them together and rehearse. And so Huey Masekela and Stu Levine had gone on the road, and there was this young guy, probably a little older than me then, who was from Japan, who was like the house sitter or whatever. I think he plays guitar, and he was like probably wanted that band to be his band or whatever. But he said, "You have 1 week to get together. We're gonna have to take you wherever you want to be dropped off." So there it was. A week later, and where do you want to go? So I went to La Brea and Sunset. There was a called Palm Desert Hotel, something, $6 a night. And he gave me $100 bill. I'd never seen that much at one time. And so I felt like a king. I stayed at this motel on Sunset Boulevard, and I would walk to the Whiskey to go anywhere. Because Hugh Masekela, because I had met him, then Mario and Elmer would let me in for free and all that. So, yeah. I never got to play with Hugh Masekela, unfortunately. I always wanted. But I was around the studios when they did a lot of work. And then I was in Africa, South Africa, Johannesburg. It's maybe been 3 years ago now, 4 years ago.
Right.
They had the Joya Jazz South Africa, and Hugh Masekela was there, and we hadn't seen each other in years, and it was just great. And then unfortunately he passed.
Yeah.
Soon after he was, but it was great after so many years because I admire that guy. And I always wanted to play with him, but that just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why did Eric leave War? Eric Burden's War. Why did he leave that band?
I don't know. I mean, I can put my thoughts in. You should ask him that. But I don't know if I'm always politically right because I try to.
Who cares?
Huh?
Who cares?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I admired Eric. Let me just start with that.
Okay.
I admired Eric because he was like a superstar.
Right.
And I got mad. It was like he was like a Mick Jagger. I mean, he was
sure
that same popularity, and so he wanted me to be part of the band, and he was looking for, and actually Blues Image, we had talked about maybe the backup band, and I was going to be part of it. But then they got a deal with Atco Records, and
right.
Right, Captain Right.
Yep.
And so Eric had to look other places. We went to see Phil Spector. Phil Spector was a strange one. I mean, when we sat there, I was sitting next to Eric looking at Phil Spector, and I couldn't see him, just a silhouette. There was a big window behind Phil Spector with the sun shining, so he could see the sun on our faces, but we couldn't see him. And so between Eric, Phil Spector, and these other two people that he met that became the manager for War, Eric was just, figuring out what he wanted. So he wanted to be part of the business, not just a rock star. So he chose to be with Steve Gold, Jerry Goldstein, and that's how I look at it. And he was on MGM Records, carryover from the Animals.
Yep.
Still tied to Mike Curb. And so a tune like, and I'll be straight out honest about it, a tune like Spill the Wine, the seven of us as War, we got credit.
Mm-hmm.
As writing, but we didn't write that. We wrote the music. We composed the music. He wrote the lyrics, but if he had taken credit for writing it, the publishing would have been owned to MGM Records.
Okay.
To Black Curb. So by having control of the publishing with Steve Gold and Jerry Goldstein, he didn't claim he wrote anything. So that way, that's how that is. So I think in the business sense, he was really wanted to be part of that whole thing. But then he got disillusioned, I think, with different things.
He did.
I know that when we went to England and London, it was in one actually, where we were playing. It would be the opening act would be War, and then Eric Burdon and War, so he'd go on stage and then we'd do a whole show with him, and that was a way to promote, our band to piggyback on his fame and it'd be his backup band. But somehow or something else, he didn't show up, and we found later he was up in Newcastle where his parents were, and he was exhausted or something. He just, and so I thought we were going to get killed because, I know Europe and I know England, and usually if they're not happy with something, they'll throw beer bottles at you or whatever.
Really? Huh.
We did whatever the guys in the band had known before it was Eric Burdon and War, because they were already as a band. And, we played on that, and people went crazy. They loved it. It was just amazing.
Yeah, War.
I don't know what really happened.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, we went back to. I was trying to go back to United States, and I didn't have a visa then and they were supposed to give me another H-1 visa, and they didn't have it. They had for Eric, but not for me. So I had to kind of go back way around another way to get into the United States. I got into New York, and I got up to the Fillmore East just 10 minutes before they had to go up and play, and it was like 3 days of trying to get my way back into the United States. And I was exhausted. And Eric and us, we did a tune called Mother Earth. I used to love playing that blues thing. And soon as I finished my solo, bang, 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 all of a sudden he comes in singing, Eric comes back and singing, and Hale Brown, the drummer, goes, da-da-da-da-da, and the whole place stops. And Hale would say, I'm tired of playing this Uncle Tom music or whatever it was. And it was like, you could hear opinions. Everyone was just quiet and shocked. And that's all I remember. And then next thing you know, Eric and Hale were hugging each other, and then we got up and played.
Oh, man.
So, all I can tell you is there was moments where I think Eric was just exhausted and just wanted to change. I heard that he always wanted to change, but I always found him to be very inspiring because he would allow you to improvise, and we would make stuff up every time we played. That's how we always did, and that's how War always played. That's how we jammed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's Eric's got a great voice. He's always had a powerful voice, and he's done. He did so much on the solo side. I think picking, choosing his own shows and smaller venues and that kind of thing. So and he always picks different musicians usually. When he goes out on the road.
Well, yeah, I mean, if Eric hears this, and I hope he does, I just want to say that, if you're going to be true to the arts, at least in my way of thinking, you can't be afraid to do new stuff instead of trying to hold on to what you were known for and just play that. I think I would love to see Eric because he was so innovative and so he gave so many ideas to me when I was young and we were first together, and I think he just got tired of losing that. If he was a mentor for younger people and he really got creative because he had a creative mind and keep things fresh, it just seems to me that it's a better way to go. The honesty to your past. You can still do some of your hits, but I know he's trying to do other things, but I just feel that the arts is if it's going to come across and connect with people, it's got to feel like it's in the moment,
right?
Not try to milk something,
I like the way he does. He'll play some hits, but he'll play it a different way. He'll add some reggae to it and things like that.
He's constantly always improvising. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like he doesn't have to do all the hits every time he plays.
Right.
He can do
I agree.
New stuff, but maybe he does. I don't see him. I have only seen him a few different times since back then, and it just felt like he was holding on to the same thing. But who am I to say? Let's talk about me.
Well, I love War. I was a big fan of War. The only band I think that could compare to War, as far as success and musicians and things like that, is probably Sly and the Family Stone. And then that's pretty much it. I mean, as far as success and great musicians and diversity, all that stuff. And as a matter of fact, I had Greg Arico on the show not long ago.
I know, I listened to it,
Yeah, nice guy, really good guy.
Yep.
What I understand is that your signature solos help define War's sound as well. I mean, if you didn't have you in the band, you would not have most of those hits.
Well, that's very flattering again. But, yeah, I mean, the way I play, the sound of harmonica, or the way I play and all that is part of the chemistry. And
the chemistry.
Yeah. But to be honest about all that is that the chemistry between the band, more than just the harmonica, everybody was amazing. And when we played together, that chemistry cannot be mimicked. I'll give you an example. If you know about copyrights and all that, so if you take LowRider, take the tune LowRider, and you want to do it in a commercial or something, from the publishing side, you have to get the sync rights,
right?
And then after the sync rights, you bring in people and you use the same elements, harmonica, play a saxophone, guitar, whatever, same lineup, and try to make it sound similar. You can never play the same way twice. However, and that's a lot cheaper than if you not only get sync rights, but now you're also going to get master rights. That's very expensive. And so it's more than a composition when it comes to LowRider. It's actually the chemistry, not just harmonica, but harmonica and saxophone that we play. Mm-hmm. The guitar player, Howard Scott, B.B. Dickinson, Hale Brown. For example, I always use the scenario. If guitar players, they can look up, they can stand far away from the guitar player, and they can see where the fingers are. Say, he's playing a C chord. Because everybody learns a C chord playing the three notes, a C, E, and a G, let's say. But where they play it on the guitar is pretty standard where most people play. Like Howard Scott will play a C, E, and a G note, play a C chord, but he'll have it a certain way where he puts on the strings to get those three notes. And it's going to be a different position than the typical. So right then it has a slightly different sound. And then the way we all play. So you can't, it's more than a composition. It's a composition and the chemistry we already play. And if I try to play LowRider with anybody else, it doesn't have that chemistry.
I agree.
It's just, so what supports even when you hear me play is really the dirt and the stuff that everybody puts. I mean, it's just, that's why we were like an amazing band, and the band out there trying to do what we used to do under the name War is just a tribute band who, one guy, Lonnie Jordan, is, is with other people, and he doesn't own the trademark. The ex-manager owns it.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to mimic something. They're just a tribute band with the name War, but they can never do what we do now as the LowRider Band. They can never, in other words, the chemistry of what we are, that dirt that goes on with it is part of what I think other people fell in love with,
No, I agree. I'm not a big fan of having one guy in the band and that's it. I don't follow those guys. People still go see them. I don't know why, because they don't do their homework. They still pay a lot of money to see those guys.
They think people, first of all, the meaning of the trademark is to protect consumers.
Right.
A trademark is to people believe that if it's called that, then it must be them.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're right. People don't do their homework.
Don't do their homework.
Or they just can't believe the stuff that they pay money, and so they tell themselves this is amazing.
Yeah.
And the guys in that band, tribute band, they're all great players, but they're living in. They're not true artists because they're living in a shadow of people like myself and my colleagues. If they're really a true artist, they'll be doing something unique, not to pretend they're part of something that's something like that they really have nothing to do with, So,
I had the same conversation with Lou Graham of Foreigner, man. He was saying even the guys that took over, they're talking about I remember when I made Hot Blooded and this and that, whatever. They're completely lying about the whole thing. It's ridiculous.
That's sad. I mean, when I hear things like, "Hey, man, I really love you guys. My parents, I grew up with you guys music. My parents, man." And I've heard that people say that, and then they'll sign it and say, "Yeah, thank you." Like never saying that. No, well, that wasn't really me. Never. It's like it's they more than the music. These people like that who are playing in a tribute band, I think they just want to soak up and feel like
exactly.
What it's like to be a Ringo Starr, and it's like to feel the pain rather than being for real about your music.
Oh yeah, you're not going to see Ringo call himself the Beatles. I mean that's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's very rare though that they have like Jerry Goldstein. He's got the trademark, doesn't he?
He's the one that owns the trademark. Technically, you have to have one original member.
Right.
For the law to allow you to exercise the right of using the trademark.
See, I thought it was a corporation. All you guys would have had to agree, or something like that. You had to.
No, when it got down to it, the federal judge, you can read it in public records. The federal judge, Judge Keller, ruled that Jerry Goldstein has the name trademark War, and we were just. He had told us that we were backup musicians.
That's ridiculous.
So the evolution of War now is it's not the theme. Like whoever comes in and goes out, it was the evolution of War.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's again, judges aren't hip to what really goes on in the music scene either. It's not right, not right at all. Well, all the music, what I understand, one of your favorite war songs is The World is a Ghetto. Is that right?
I love playing World is a Ghetto because, when Charles Miller when he and I was playing, it was always about harmonica and sax, so the horn lines.
Right.
And a lot of those tunes, like World is a Ghetto, Charles Miller always did amazing solos. And when he passed, I had to do solos, and I love playing, especially using my natural minors.
Yeah.
I love playing solos on some of these minor tunes like "Worlds Together." Yeah, it's an amazing, and I always think about if Charles was here, and I would make him feel proud, because I've grown a lot. I want to say that Charles Miller was an amazing saxophone player. Mm-hmm. They were all amazing. I was nowhere near the caliber of musician than any of the other guys. I mean, I've certainly grown, and I'm growing, and I feel good about myself. And but Charles Miller, he realized what my thing was melodies, and and the harmonica was a wonderful way to create hook lines and melodies. So he would stoop down to my level and work with my melodies, and we'd do these horn lines, whatever we did, that was basically counter melodies to the melody the lyrics were singing on any of these tunes. And we would just be in a moment and create like that, but he was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I just wish that I could, in the way I play today, I could have Charles Miller experience and hear how I've grown, because I know that, he would have loved that. I just feel like musically I'm still on a roll, and I've gone a long ways, and I could do so much more with Charles than I could back then.
Yeah. I just want to remind people, LowRider, how famous that song was. I'm a big fan of Cheech and Chong, of course, Up in Smoke. It was in, George Lopez on his show, the theme for his show, Lopez Tonight. Right. All the games, Grand Theft Auto. I mean, it goes on. And, when you think of war, come on, you got to think of That's you, man.
Yeah, it was. The one thing about us when we played together is that we never told each other what to play. That would be a fight.
Yeah.
We all contribute the chemistry, whatever it became. We contribute what we felt there, and that's what it is. And so again, I'm usually the one that can write melodies. I play melodies a lot. But if you didn't have the rest of the guys, like if you didn't have that shit with it, you would get a toothache. I mean, you can't just hear just melodies. That's what I do. You got to have that other stuff with it.
Not only have you been, famous with War, you did a lot of great solo stuff as well. First of all, you did Before the Rain, which was a big hit, right?
Yeah, in some parts of the world, it was bigger than I had been informed, because we never got to see statements. So yeah.
Oh wow! And you did a song that Timber, which was I guess Pitbull and Kesha kind of took.
Yeah, they did a tune called Timber.
Right.
And that the motif of that melody, is part of a melody riff on my composition called San Francisco Bay.
Right.
So they used that, and they had somebody play the harmonica that is like blend. It almost fooled me that I thought it was me, and I said, "Did they sample that?"
Really?
No, they didn't sample that. They said, "No, that's not me." So they save money by hiring somebody, probably give them a couple $100, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I got to credit me and Greg Rico and my ex-wife Carrie for being part writers.
Oh, great! That's good. Awesome. Who were some of your favorite players? I guess I had Magic Dick on the show. He was always a favorite of mine. I've interviewed Kim Wilson of the Thunderbirds. He does a great job. John Mayall, interviewed him a few times. What do you think of John Lennon's playing with the Beatles?
I think it's. I think it's all good. It's all good. It's just implementing and using the sound of harmonica to. I don't. The way I look at things is that it's like, and I thought you were going to ask me what I think on harmonica players. It's like my biggest influence, I would say, when I play harmonica, it's my voice.
Okay.
It's truly my voice, and if I'm influenced by anybody, it would have been more like Ray Charles.
Right.
Guys in War, in the band, LowRider Band. The tune itself is not. I didn't sit down and listen to records or harmonica players. I grew up, in Denmark, in Copenhagen. There was a radio, and the same show would have Bueling singing an opera, or Perry Como singing Melody of Moo, or Ray Charles. It was just music or symphonies, whatever. There wasn't categories. And I always tell people in marketing, categories, it was a way for the librarians. Where do I file it, or for marketing, to tell a story? But back in the days when marketing didn't try to put these different categories, it was just music.
Right.
And I grew up with that, so I never heard harmonica players per se, other than someone playing a tremolo folk music. I heard Ray Charles when I got my first record player after I got it when I was with Eric, and so. What do I think about Bob Dylan? Anybody when they play? I think it's all wonderful. They're using the characteristic of a harmonica because I don't want to mesh. I don't like to judge. I don't like to be a judge. I don't believe in judging based on skills.
Right.
Because skills is a tool. It's the end result musically. The feeling is what it sounds like. So I don't weigh in on whether someone has good technique or not. I weigh in on what's the persona and the feeling, and that's really what it should always be about. Yeah.
I like his, when you think of harmonica, for years and years, you always think of the blues, And,
but that's what a lot of people in America does.
Yeah. But you turned it, you especially turned it around, because then you had that R&B, funk, soul, introducing the harmonica into that. I think that was, incredible.
It's funny you say that because it's interesting. Intentionally, if I may share the story how I came to my solo albums, it started with, as a band, we played together. That three-letter word, which I'm not allowed to say, but we would go to the studio and jam, and then things came out of the jam. We would add this and that, and add this and that. But that's how we created tunes and all that. And so everything I composed, I would feel it belonged to the band, that we were together. That's what I believe. So when I came in from that first solo album, before I came out with the album as Lee Oskar, the first album, I came with tunes like which harmonic minor, I remember home and all that stuff. Well, I came with my melodies and not thinking any different than anything else we've done, and the guys, would try to play, but it just didn't feel right. So then I realized that besides what we are as war, back then, what we were as the chemistry of that, there are things in each of us that doesn't necessarily fit the chemistry of what we are together. In other words, if Papa Allen wanted to write a play or a musical, that doesn't mean it belongs to do it for us. So I had the idea like, man, this is good to feel liberated like that. So if I did a solo album with my stuff that didn't belong to the band, and everybody did a solo album, that would defy all the things that people think about. Oh, you left the band. I'm glad you left the band, or any kind of like that.
Yeah.
A lot of bands, when somebody did a solo album, that was usually like typically that they left the band. And I love the idea they don't have to leave the band. We support each other in our music and art. So what it would be like 8 albums, the war one, and then the 7 of us individually have albums out, and they all are on the hits and chart and all that. It would be amazing. It would also represent that we're here for the music and we support each other, rather than it's like, whether it's like you're in this band or you have to leave to do this other stuff. So that idea was very inspiring to me. Mm-hmm. So when I did the first solo album, I actually gave credit to the guys in the band, even though they didn't write it. Just a token of that, and I also put war on the album cover.
That was
nice. The first one, just to let people know I didn't leave the band.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I said to myself, when I do this music, which is not what people expect. They would expect if I did a harmonica solo album, it would be blues, because that was the connection, like you say, harmonica, a lot of harmonica back. I said, man, it would be like surprising to them to hear the stuff I'm doing that would be totally unexpected with harmonica.
Right.
And then when I do a blues album, then it surprised me again, because but I didn't take into account this, and that put me in a clique. So now the blues thing out there, which I love playing blues. I mean, that's my thing. Mm-hmm. But people out there in this clique with the blues and all that, they're in their little clique, and the people who support that, they look at these guys at the blues and what I do. He's not a blues player. He plays, Cisco Kid and LowRider.
Yeah.
So it's gotten so silly with the categories.
I know.
It even tricked me that I thought they would be open enough if I come back and play an album with the least expected blues, that they would welcome it, but not so,
Yeah, the genres have gotten ridiculous. There's so many different variations of rock, blues, progressive rock. I mean, there's not one category anymore. There's like a million categories, And
that's really a good sign, because it shows that the melting part it's all about music. It's not like the librarians or the vertical market that it's so cut and dry. Yeah. And I think with technology today and social media and the internet and all the digital things have made the world very small, and so there's a lot more influence between everybody. I would think, when it's music. And I mean, back in the days when there was war, it was like, what kind of music do you play? Well, if somebody ever asked me that, I would never tell them a category, because if they think they don't like that category, they don't come and see me. Yeah. So it's silly to put a category on yourself. But they used to call it blues, rock, jazz. They had all these lists, beat music, all this stuff. Now they call it world music.
World music. Huh?
So music, no matter where you are, human beings, wherever there's human beings, there's music. And wherever there's music, it could be different scales, different materials to make different instruments, but it's all the same heart and soul. And that industry that we're talking about has denied so much music that could have been made the industry even survive better than draining it, because the resources should be taken from anywhere in the world at any given time, so people are familiar with it. It's a sitar, sarangi, or whatever it is. It should never sound strange, or the modes. Like my first album was all harmonic minor on that one side, and it was strange to people's ears. It should not be, It should be wherever there's human beings, period, there's music. If I was on a desert island, where there's no human beings but me, Eventually, I would not do what we call music. I would want to be acknowledged and expressed, and they would be talking to the frogs or the snakes or something that maybe hope they can acknowledge me. So it doesn't matter where in the world. The world is small, and it's always music, and it's whether you want to call it blues, reggae, whatever it is. It's bigger than that. It's just life. It's music is reflecting life.
Music is the universal language and of peace in the world. It really is.
Between human beings.
Yeah. But you made a great point though. The people that are running music today, like the corporations that own like 50 radio stations, like iHeart and this and that, they know nothing about music, nothing at all. And you're right. If somebody got in there and controlled it and actually knew what they were doing, they could make a lot of money and have so much diversity in music. It would be pleasing to everyone. It really would.
But the thing, Ray, is it was even worse back then.
Really?
The record companies back then, a lot of different comes in, till CPAs were put in charge because they did merging different, acquisitions and all that. But even though all that was happening and they were experimenting and letting that, it was still really, really closed in, where it was just certain Western music that was really running the top of the hit, any of that stuff. And the thing is about marketing is that here's an example that I thought was really in the wrong direction.
Okay.
It went back then when you went into Tower Records and talk about categories. They only had pop, soul, jazz, opera, I don't know, whatever categories. People would judge based on the category what category they're going to go in and look for records. Opera. Oh, I don't like opera. Jazz. Oh, no. So it was really counterproductive in sales. For example, with War, we had some tunes were actually on the format rotation on 3 different format radio stations. There was pop, jazz, and R&B. And if anybody walked into R&B, they would see War records.
Right.
But if anybody walked into the pop, they would not see War. But if they walked into jazz, they would not see War.
Right.
So, but the format on the radio, when it was normal rotation, would play the same tune. Let's say Cisco Kid or Ghetto would be playing on all 3 formats. And you would hear guys say, "Man, I hate jazz, man. I hate R&B, man, and jazz, man. That sucks, man. You see this really cool pop tune, man. I love this rock station, and they play Cisco Kid." And another person says, "Man, I hate rock and R&B. This is a really cool jazz tune called Cisco Kid." And the same thing with R&B, man. I love R&B. I don't like pop or jazz, man. They got a great new tune called Cisco Kid. So the fact that it's been played on these 3 different formats rotation means there's enough people that have proven for them to do that.
Right.
That the ratings, the responders to that music. When they go into Tower Records, the only ones that would see the record, unless you knew to ask for it, by impulse, they would only see it. Oh, there it is in the R&B section.
Exactly.
But if you had done, let's say, out of every 10, okay, pop is 6 records. R&B is 3 and jazz is 1. So out of every 10 records, put it in 3 different categories.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of money that was lost as an example of people getting too much into putting a vertical market on something rather than
I agree.
For so many possibilities.
Yeah, I remember, man. I remember going to the record store and seeing War with like the Funkadelic, Ohio Players, you know what I mean, in that category. In
R&B.
Yeah, R&B.
But it also crossed into pop.
R&B and soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember that. You're right. And actually, you guys were very top 40, You had big hits.
Also as much as they could. Like, Why Can't We Friends?
Yeah.
And, hey, man, that sounds really wide. It is the black band.
Right.
It's like it was constantly these ridiculous things that you were fighting for the management to try to get it played and being rated on the Billboard and all that, and what category and crossovers. It doesn't matter if you're racing a horses trying to bid or you're doing this. It's the same grind. It's like it's everything about ratings rather than about the music.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. 100%. I was a DJ back in the the late 70s. I was a top 40 DJ.
Right.
And I mean, you know, we had a nice mixture of music back then because we had new wave, we had R&B. You know, we played everything, you know, at that time, you know, which was cool. But, you know, they won't do that today.
Well, the reason why they don't is because everything is, you know, everything is about advertisement. And, and I mean, I've seen so many radio stations who compete because the rating is just like vicious. And they can be the big pop station in LA, and then next morning you wake up, and now it's a country station.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the ratings to get the big advertising accounts, it's a grind. It's just, you know, and that's what they depend on. It's not the music. That's why everybody plays the top stations back then used to play the same music, the same top 10.
Yep.
And how to get your record to be played on the main stations? You had to pick out of the whole album which one is going to be the single. And then you had to make sure that as that one you picked, that it's played in the secondary and then becomes the main markets all at the same time. You know, so there's momentum. It's a grind. It's, you know, the whole thing. It doesn't matter if it's fish, apples, or music. It all comes to the same thing called numbers. Numbers and numbers and numbers.
Well, when I was taught, I went to broadcasting school for radio and television, and the school was owned by CBS, but we were taught no more than 3 commercials in a row because you'll lose your audience. And now look at it. Now look at it. You can't even remember what you were listening to.
Yeah, I mean, it's always about the real estate is always about you know bringing money, and advertisement is the way they radio stations make money.
Exactly.
And now it's homogenized to that, like you say, it's not even DJs. They're just a personality at the most if they're still there.
Yeah.
But the program director is really responsible for picking the right stuff, and that's based on not because he loves the music, but based on the ratings. So everybody's getting, the big advertising companies, by proving that everybody's, there's so many people listening to the station, that means that more ears are going to hear about the product, and so it's all about advertisement. And when it was FM stations in the beginning, it was like from AM, now stereo. And so they say no advertising, because that was a way to get people excited about now hearing on radio and stereo. But eventually, that was advertising like anything else. Once they got it rooted, with people listening to it,
Yeah.
It's always going to be. Yeah.
I talked to Stanley Livingston from My Three Sons. You remember that show?
Sure, I've heard of it. I don't know if I've seen it. Yeah.
Stanley was Chip in the show, and he says, back then he was in the show he was in the 60s. He said, television was designed just for advertising. It wasn't even a thought about having actually a real show or anything like that. And I kind of forgot about that. That's how it all started, really.
Well, I mean, what other ways are they going to make money?
Yeah.
I mean, they have to do it for the advertising. I mean, not today because you have other technologies they can do it by subscribing and other things. But the return in something has to be profits, and radio, and television has always been depending on advertising to make the money.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, music is, an example. Back in the days when before we were like one of the first bands back then to be on major network, like Mike Douglas, Mel Griffin shows and all that, talk shows, and they did rock and roll, or people like Midnight Special and all these things were like new because they always thought that rock and roll and all that, you gotta have police to the guard, people are gonna riot, they're gonna throw television out of the window and all that. And not like if you go to the opera, they don't worry about that. But with the rock and roll, they had this image and went with it, So when we were on these new talk shows, and we were like beginning of this new era with people like Eric Burden and Wall was on them. They got because they're going to have an audience who's huge fans of our music, then watch it. That's the point, right? To watch the show so they get good ratings and do advertising. Well, when we got down there, we were like jamming. So we do like a tune that they want us to play from a record to hit. And we were like 10 minutes into it, and we just barely getting started.
Yeah.
And it was when they had the cameras there just to do a dry run before they actually do the video show. for the cameras. And we got pissed off because they stopped us.
Yep.
And they said, your record is 3 minutes and 38 seconds. And next thing I know, we go in the green room and have to figure out how to play a Cisco Kid or wherever it is, because we always jam. And so then television didn't want to alienate the fans by cutting us off after 3 minutes when we just barely getting started, right? That looks bad. Then the business to draw people to watch the shows would be lip singing.
Yeah.
And lip singing didn't look good either.
It didn't, no.
Right. And then finally came out what we called TV mixes.
Right.
So you have the backtrack exactly like the record with minus the solo or minus the lead voices. Now it's perfect in time, and then it looks live. And that's how that involved, because advertising is crucial, but they don't want to piss off the fans by cutting you off in the middle of it, right? That defeats the whole purpose of drawing a bigger audience to get the ratings so you can get better money for advertising. So it's all the same.
You guys actually played on the Midnight Special, right? That was all you? You guys played live?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That was, what's his name? Wolfman Jack.
Wolfman Jack. Yeah, I met Wolfman a couple of times. Yeah, he was a really cool guy. He died young.
Yeah, a lot of people died young.
Yeah.
You know.
I got two last questions for you, Lee. I know we're running. What I'm going to do is probably. This is a great interview, so I really want to get it all, even if I have to buy more time on the show. Because
whatever you like.
This is a good one. Okay. I did want to mention Jimi Hendrix, because I know, was that his last gig at Ronnie Scott's when he came up on stage? I guess with Eric, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you were there at Ronnie Scott's, right?
Right. I was there.
Yeah. Because I know Eric Clapton says I guess the next day he was supposed to meet Hendrix at a Sly and the Family Stone concert in London, right? And he was supposed to give him a Fender Strat that night, a left-handed Fender Strat, is what Clapton said. But you were actually there the night before, right?
Yeah, we were playing. We were the first band that was not Stu Zims or Coltrane or any heavy, jazz player. There was Ronnie Scott's downstairs, the main club, was very, I don't know what the word, strict, snobbish, or whatever. It was like very hardcore, so-called jazz, as they would say. And Eric Burden Wall was the first rock band they allowed, and he played there. And the Melody Maker magazine was a London or English music newspaper magazine, and the front page, best live band ever heard. So there was a whole thing made with Eric Burden and his new band, and we played there a few nights, and it was like more people than I've ever seen. Because Eric Burden was a superstar, would be like Mick Jagger and whatever, back then. So the novelty of it really took off, but more than a novelty was that Eric was good friends or acquaintance with Jimi Hendrix, because they had a lot of things in common. I met Hendrix a year before at Eric's house.
Right.
Hendrix was very... I was a fly on the wall, basically, and all I can say is that even me being so in awe of these superstars, I saw Jimi Hendrix as being a very shy person.
Sure.
I always been a very kind of shy person back then. And Eric and him would talk about things, and they would talk about the management, Mike Jeffrey, who ripped off the Animals, and now he's managing Jimi Hendrix, and they had a lot of stories and conversations, and he didn't look very... I don't want to get too specific here, but he was not very happy, Hendrix, about... And what I felt out of it was those expectations on people when they're superstars like that. And you're afraid to do what you really want to do. I think that's how Jim Morrison passed. I don't know Prince, but I believe it's probably the same thing. Yeah. Where you're bigger than life and there's expectations. So with Jimi Hendrix, to burn a guitar, and he didn't want to burn a guitar, and he wanted people to grow with how he evolved.
Right.
But there was no connection to the people. That's what I see. Where he just had a manager who, he feels ripping him off. There's no synergy. Today with social media, it's easier to have synergy with your fans, but you got to keep your fans. If you want to change up and do this and this and that, then you got to make sure that they are ready for that change. And if they're not, then it's tough to get on stage and do anything other than what they expect.
Exactly.
So Jimi Hendrix, bigger than life. And then a year later, after I heard talk to Eric, he was in London, staying with Monique, German chick who was living in London, his girlfriend or whatever. And he came to sit in with us, and it was really sad because he was amazing. He was like standing next to me, and he was amazing. His the way he bent his nose, it was like liquid. It was just unbelievable. But he wasn't in best shape. And then you see people in the audience who were from Liberty Records, who were just getting signed a deal. Edward and War getting signed to Liberty Records.
Right.
And they were like this. Again, nothing to do about music. It's their turf. It's like Howard Scott, the guys in the band. And Howard Scott was kicking ass, played a great solo. And then, they look at they're competing in a contrast. Like it's almost like Hendrix wasn't on top of his game, so he, that kind of rivalry. It's nothing to do with music. So I see a lot of things that a guy like Jimi Hendrix had to deal with, and was afraid to do in a moment when he really loved to do. So it's like living in hell.
Yeah.
And he wasn't in a great spirit, but he came to sit in with us. And next day he was going to come back, and when we were playing, all of a sudden Terry McRae, our roadie, got a call and find out after we were done playing that he had told Martin Monique to call an ambulance. And Eric split, and it was very sad, very sad.
Very sad, yeah.
Like I said, I was a fly on the wall, and I can see you more today now, and what I've experienced and learned how tragic it is when you put on a pedestal, and the worst thing anybody can buy if you get really big popularized is to buy your own hype.
Yeah.
And I don't know Bob Dylan about this, but I believe that's what saved him. Because when electric guitars was taboo to the folkies, the fans that Bob Dylan became very popular to, he wanted to play electric guitar, and he knew they were going to boo him. He didn't give a shit. I'm going to go out and play.
Yeah.
And there was shock to those people who were like, they're all going to play folk music and Bob Dylan, and it's going to be acoustic guitar, and electric guitar was like taboo. But he went out there, so he took the man and whatever his destiny is and what he wants to do, and instead of being afraid to be booed, So I think that's what I got out of being around Hendrix and other people, is that that delicate balance between, want to be accepted and you play music to all these fans, and yet you're afraid to grow because they have come more expectations on you.
Another guy who didn't give a shit was Frank Zappa.
I met Frank Zappa back then. Just
he did what he wanted to do, and
but I never really knew much about him. That while we were doing other drugs, he loved coffee.
Yeah, but he did what he wanted to do. If they liked it or not, that's what he wanted. So I admire that.
Good.
Lee, here's your final question. Yeah, I ask everybody this question. I get some very interesting answers. If you had a Field of Dreams like the movie to perform with, collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
I have to say two people. Ray Charles and Shoemaster Healer.
Yep. Good answer. Really good answer. Yeah.
Well, that's the truth.
Yeah.
I missed it both times.
Yeah.
But so be it. I do want to mention that musically speaking,
right.
I know a lot of times you connect me up, maybe it's yourself too, with all the the big hits and all that. But you mentioned also some of my solo albums, which I'm very proud that but there's stuff I'm producing right now.
Okay.
I formed a record label called Dreams We Share, if I can tell you that.
Sure, of course.
And Dreams We Share you go to dreamsweshare.com.
Okay.
You got to put the .com because it just got loaded up a couple weeks ago. And in this beginning of this Dreams We Share is one album is Takahiro Miyazaki playing. He's an amazing saxophone player out of lives in Japan, and he's playing Lee Oskar compositions that I produced on him. And then there's a guy named David Rotundo.
Okay.
And I'm just finishing his album mixing. It's all done except there's about 5 more tunes to be mixed. It'll be 12 tunes altogether. And right now on the site, dreamsweshare.com, is David Rotundo's title tune, which is So Much Trouble. And it's a free download for a limited amount of time. And the album is amazing. He's a wonderful songwriter, entertainer, blues, whatever, and harmonica and sings. And so I produced that, and that's getting ready to be released, the whole album. And then I have 2 albums in the can that I'm about to finish after that.
Great.
That's mine.
Great.
Own composition. One is called Never Forget.
Okay.
And the other album will be called Lee Oskar and Friends. And so I am so occupied between my business, my paintings. I paint.
I wanted to ask you about your paintings. They're incredible. I went to the site.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's old stuff. There's a lot of new stuff. That's a whole different style now that I'm just obsessed with. That I'm going to be taking pictures soon and load them up. But thank you.
Beautiful paintings.
Yeah, but right now I'm in a better frame of mind zone than I've ever been.
Right. Business
and creative-wise. I mean, it's just, I'm so, I just hope I can live much longer so I can feel like some of the stuff is going to be acknowledged. Because acknowledgement means a lot to me. And I think any artist, that's the true, gift back is acknowledgement. Whether you make money or not. Right. It's about your loyalty to the arts, and if you acknowledge, that's gold.
Amen, brother. And plus, you'll be out on the road when this is all over with LowRider Band, right?
I hope so, but there's going to be a new normal with things. I already done some concerts from home here with backtracks, and some of it is including new stuff that is not released yet.
Right.
And I'm enjoying the streaming and doing that. And once the technology will come up with apps that you can load in, so you can play live from 7 different houses without delay.
Yeah.
That would be looking forward to, because I'd love to do concerts with me and my colleagues and have Avon engineer, my sound engineer, hooked up with the app so he can mix and start doing concerts without I have to always get on an airplane.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
It would be.
Yeah. I think that's next. I think that's what they're going to do next.
I think so. I think so. I mean, everybody's streaming right now. But I think the quality when they do stuff right now coming from home sometimes is not quite excellent.
Right.
Because they don't have backtracks or things even to work. It's not that. And if you have, like you do on stage, really in a moment where you're playing with other people, and you can do it with technology without having to be physically on the same stage. It's nothing to sneer about. It doesn't mean that it's less music. It could be still amazing.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Lee, I want to thank you so much, man, for being on the show today. It's been a real honor. I hope to see you in Florida one day soon, maybe on a gig or something like that. That'll be incredible.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever come to Florida?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ray.
Do you ever come to Florida? Florida. I'm in the Tampa Bay area. We broadcast from California, but I'm in the Tampa Bay area. Do you ever come here?
Well, I've been in Florida many times when there's been tours and gigs, but I don't have. There's no plans right now for anything.
I know.
Even where we're going to be playing.
I know.
A lot of things got canceled that it was starting to happen. Even with Playing for Change, it was going to go into Brazil, all that stuff. But I'm sure we'll be back in Florida. Hopefully sooner or later,
Yeah. What was the last time you went to Denmark?
3 years ago, maybe.
3 years ago.
3 years. That's it. Yeah. It's just my cousins alive and nobody else, and some of them are fighting each other. So it's not as interesting to me as it was.
As it used to be, right? I understand.
When I was younger or something. Now it's what it is.
Lee, all the best to you, man, and your family. We're looking forward to all your new projects, and keep up doing what you're doing, man, because we're all proud of you.
Well, thank you, Ray. And if I make it afterwards, if you can send me the address, I want to send you this booklet for guitar and harmonica that shows you different chord changes for different genres of music with the different tunings.
Okay, and I will sign up on your website and probably sign up for lessons as well, because like I said, I've always wanted to play, and I just need some direction.
Right on.
All right, man.
Right on. What genre of music is can't go with categories? I mean, other than just typical blues, do you like reggae, or what do you like?
Well, yeah, I'm a big prog rock fan, but I do like the blues. I play some blues on my guitar, so it'd be kind of cool to play some, harmonica and combination guitar blues. Would be kind of neat. But
what about anything like? Do you like Bob Marley or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I love Bob Marley. Sure, I've been a
you even took that tune, da 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 da. But that was my line. Charles Miller Reed played in "Slippin' in the Darkness." You know that?
Oh yeah, I love it. Love Bob Marley. I've been to Jamaica. Yeah. So yeah.
What I'm saying is, he took that line from our tune "Slippin' in the Darkness."
Yep.
And if you're interested in playing those kind of things, then I'd like to send you the harmonica, send you a natural harmonica if you like.
Oh, that'll be very nice. Thank you so much. I'll send you my address, and like I said, I'll go on your website, sign up, and take it from there.
Right on, Ray. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. Take care, man. All the best to you.
You too.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.
For more information about Lee Oskar Harmonicas, Lee Oskar Music, and the Lee Oskar and LowRider Band, visit www.leeoskar.com, www.leeoskarmusic.com, also www.lowriderband.com. The LowRider Band's also on Facebook, www.facebook.com/LowRider Band. They're on Instagram, www.instagram.com/LowRider Band. And also visit Lee Oskar Paintings. He is quite an artist. Some beautiful works there. www.leeoskarpaintings.com. Very special thanks to Nancy Ballack, Public Relations Director, for arranging this interview with Lee Oskar and the dynamic duo of Doug and Don Newsom of BBS Radio for making the magic happen for each and every broadcast of Interviewing the Legends. If you have comments or suggestions for the show, contact me at interviewingthelegends@gmail.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Interviewing the Legends with Ray Shasho, for the very latest interviews. It's real news, people. And, of course, my new book is finally out, entitled The Rockstar Chronicles, Series 1. It chronicles truths, confessions, and wisdom from the music legends that set us free. Order yours today on hardcover or ebook formats at bookbaby.com or amazon.com. It features over 45 intimate conversations with some of the greatest rock legends on the planet. And I'm going to read you some. Chris Squire, Dr. John, Greg Lake, Henry McCullough, Jack Bruce, Joe Lala, Johnny Winter, Keith Emerson, Paul Kantner, Ray Thomas, Ronnie Montrose, Tony Joe White, David Clayton Thomas, Mike Love, Tommy Rowe, Barry Hay, Chris Thompson, Jesse Colin Young, John Kay, Julian Lennon, Mark Lindsay, Mickey Dolans, Peter Rivera, Tommy James, Todd Rundgren, Dave Mason, Edgar Winter, Frank Marino, Greg Rowley, Ian Anderson, Danny Mangrum, John Anderson, Lou Graham, Mick Box, Randy Bachman, Robin Trower, Roger Fisher, Steve Hackett, Annie Haslam, Melanie Safka, Petula Clark, Susie Quattro, Colin Blundstone, Dave Davies, Jim McCarty, and Pete Best. Whoa, what a lineup. So get yours today. And I just want to say thank you, everybody. Keep safe and be careful out there. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to Interviewing the Legends. Brought to you by the Publicity Works Agency. Call 941-877-1552 or visit us at publicityworksagency.com. specializing in author and music artist publicity plans. We shine when we make you shine. Tune in to Interviewing the Legends every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Time on PBS Radio, Station 1.